Good morning, YouTube. This is Bill from Little White Dory, and Sunday morning chaos in the coop. It looks like that's Cleopatra coming down off the ramp. That's Hootie, two other girls. I don't know where the others are. They could be in the nest, or she could be squawking now because the other two nests are full. We've been getting a little bit of pandemonium. We have 9 hens, and I have 2.5 places for them to roost or to nest. We got 2 doors right there. We got another milk crate attached to the side. They don't seem to be using it, but they'll sit in it and practice for a little bit. And then sometimes they go out in little tykes. But they seem to be in good moods today, as am I. I'm setting up for transplants. I'm taking from these hard 6-packs and transplanting into some solo cups that I've got some holes drilled in. We throw a little splash of organic iron tone in there, and we got the topsoil, or the potting soil, whatever, seeding soil here. Tonight, or last night rather, we have a first night overnighter with my starts out in the greenhouse chicken tractor multi-purpose creation. Let's see what we got in the way of. Well, I think things look pretty good. Nothing's wilted. I have the lamp off now. Right there it's saying it's 79 degrees. I think you guys could probably see that. And over here it's saying on the floor that it is 56 degrees. I can live with that. That worked out. I got to get some water in here, but I have several trays, as you can see. Some of them I've done a little transplanting, and some of them I have still in the 6-packs. So we're going to transplant this stuff into solo cups, label the cups. When I have a whole tray of the same thing, I just put one label in the tray. When I have multiple things for each thing, I get a description of the locations and everything else that I need to know, so I can keep track of which is which. I think so far these cups that I used where I put seeds in are doing best. I guess these things are getting root bound and they need to be transplanted so they can grow. The ones in the solo cups to the back, the red ones, I transplanted 2 days ago, and they look happy. They'll look like they'll fill in. We got a whole tray of peppers here, and then we have all the seed starts down in the basement still. So this is, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I have 10 trays here and about 10 trays down in the basement. And the other ones are not as far along yet, so I didn't leave them out overnight. Figured I'd take my chance on the ones that are a little bigger. So that's the state of the greenhouse. Let's get this closed to keep the heat in there. Let me just have some simple latches here to help keep them from opening up. And so then the next thing we have to deal with today is go to use the car last night, and next thing you know, I'm looking at this. Now, I don't know what you guys think about problems with tires, but which part doesn't look like it should be there? I picked up a chunk of wire right through close to the sidewall. I have a feeling it's going to be a problem, but we'll see. So we got that taken care of. And then in the wind the other day, we had our TV antenna came down. Didn't really break anything, it's just a little bent. I'm hoping I can bend this stuff back and we'll get this thing back up in the air, hopefully today. The missus wants to watch some of her TV shows. So here we are. It's now April, I think, 7th. And my hunting for land has come down to, right now we're looking at 2 different properties. They're 2 very different situations. They have some things in common. I have one 5.5 acre plot that has a garage, literally like a 1-car garage, has electric, has a well that I tested, and right now the water was a little on the high pH that was coming out at 8.5, but I was getting good flow between 5 and 10, probably closer to 10 after the spring runoff would be there. I think that would make it much quicker. But it's 5.5 acres in a place where I will not have access to telephone, internet, no cable TV. I'd have to put an antenna similar to the one here. I probably get very much so, no problem with Albany stations. Enough to keep us entertained. I think it'll get the 3 major networks and PBS. And then I have another property, which is a 10-acre horse farm. And I think, what the hell do I want to buy a horse farm for? Well, it's kind of a property that, for the land isn't going to suffer, but the aesthetic value of the view, hence the new word, the view shed. Currently, this 10-acre property, which is a double-fenced horse farm, lots of protection from deer, very flat. It's been manured for the last 30 years by horses, and seed has been spread down for cover crop or to make a pasture for the horses to eat. And a big portion of the 10 acres, I would say probably about 6 acres, has been being hayed for many years, and the hay is supposed to be in very good quality. The woman who owns the horse farm uses the hay herself, keeping her from having to buy much hay. So there's 10 acres, very easily set up for farm market size. I'm thinking like 50 by 100 or 30 by 100 foot to start, and then with whatever size tarp I buy, expand in increments of that tarping. But to get myself started, I could start tarping this fall or this summer, possibly get something into it like squash, ladies. But not much in the way of farming this year. It would be a lot of setting up. That property comes with a 3,600 square foot horse stable. It has about 800 to 1,000 feet of possible living quarters. It would be roughing it, sort of. There's a toilet, there's a sink, there's a shower stall. There's what you could call 3 rooms that, 2 or 3 of them could be bedrooms, or one could be a bedroom, however you want to divvy up your space, with living rooms and a kitchen or a dining area. It's a more established piece of property in that it's got a well, septic system, the electric is brought in. It's a 3,600 square foot, very well made wooden post barn with what looks to be a modern touch. It's got a vinyl siding on the side and asphalt shingle roof. But the barn itself is in good shape. It's probably a bit of a fire hazard from a living point of view because it's all wood. But being that the utilities are all electric, so long as everything's done right with the electric, I suppose it's going to be safe. And it also has, on the front of the property, I probably shouldn't be facing that way, it has 3 RV sites. So 3 full hookup RV sites. So you could bring horse trailers that have the kind of RV part of it attached to the front typically. And that would be kind of cool. Makes me think that maybe I could find someone that would either do woofing for me or come on as, I want to say apprentice, because I don't feel like I'm a master that I could be teaching apprentices anything, but something where I could set up parts of the 10 acres for somebody to use however they want, at the same time helping me, and maybe do it in exchange for rent on an RV site, meaning I can give you a place to live, I'll feed you when I can, but basically the swap is, here's some land for you to use. Oh, somebody laid an egg. That's our Buffy Blue. Anyway, I'm thinking if it was a swap for essentially a place to live and a place to farm, that I could spend this summer and the next winter doing things like building a brooder, building washing stations, building a cold room, lots of things to do over the winter, so that the following year I could set up and try to get something growing and take it serious. And of course I'd probably document it all on YouTube, because it seems that's the thing to do these days. So 2 pieces of property. One is I'm shooting for like 50 to 70,000 range. The other one is 150 to 200,000 for 10 acres with the barn and so on. So I'm kind of putting this out there for YouTubers to tell me what you think. If you have suggestions on what it would take to build a barn on the one property that doesn't have a barn, I'd be all ears. Likewise, if you know anything about horse farms, any do's and don'ts about horse farms, I'd be curious to know what you have to say. So if you have thoughts, please put them down in the comments. I'm going to tack in at the end of this an overhead view of the two locations so you can get a feel for what I'm looking at. And I'll edit it up, hopefully, before the day's over and get this out. Alright, so there'll be more stuff after this, but I'll say goodbye from here. The rest will be just clips, I guess, of the scene and the quality. Both of them, by the way, have excellent quality soil. One is basically covered with a cover crop. One is a pasture. It's an active horse farm. So it would come back quickly, but it's relatively clear right now. Alrighty, folks. We'll send you more information, ask questions, and we'll get you feedback, and hopefully you can help us out on a decision. And hopefully by the end of the day, I'll have all these transplants taken care of. Bye-bye.